What is going on, everyone? Peter back again for another daily video. Today we're talking about intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting first? Well, if you don't know what it is, it's an eating habit that doesn't focus around what food you eat. It focuses around what times you eat them at, and thus the quantities of food you eat in a particular period. So, popular one is to say for the 16-8 diet, which is just you fast for 16 hours and then you eat all your calories for the day in a period of 8 hours. So what this would usually look like is postponing breakfast, postponing lunch even, to eat your first meal at around 2 p.m., and then your next meal would you would finish eating at 10, your last meal before 10 o'clock at night, and then you go to bed, and then you would refrain from eating until 2 p.m. the next day. Now, there's nothing special about eating only 8 hours a day. You can eat 10 hours a day. You can eat 6 hours a day. You can even eat 4 hours a day. I mean, it's not recommended, but you can do it if you really want to. It's just the thing about intermittent fasting is it's appetite control, and a lot of people, find it's very beneficial to allow them to control their appetite, because the thing is, popular dietary superstition would go with the thinking that, oh, you need to eat six small meals a day to keep the metabolism um, spiked, and that's the perfect diet for bodybuilding. Well, it might be for some people, but for some people, eating six small meals leaves them feeling unsatisfied and they're constantly hungry throughout the day. You'll probably find this with people with bigger appetites. I myself have used intermittent fasting in the past for appetite control, because when you've only got a certain amount of calories to eat in a day, a lot of people's line of thinking is that they would rather save them up and use them all in a couple, 1, 2, 3 meals of larger quantities rather than six smaller meals. Okay, so it can make dieting easier for some people, because when they do feed themselves, they satisfy their hunger. They're eating 1,000 calorie meals, they're eating huge meals, and they're feeling rewarded. And for them, refraining from eating in the morning is worth it to enjoy the fruits of their labor later on in the day. And for some people, they don't like this. They're too hungry in the morning. They get really hungry in the morning, so they would rather eat a meal in the morning. And bear in mind, a lot of people don't do this, but you can practice intermittent fasting by eating most of your meals in the morning. So you have breakfast, you have lunch, then you don't eat dinner, then you fast until breakfast the next day. So you might stop eating at say 4 or 6 or something p.m. instead of stopping eating at 10 p.m. at night. So it can work either way. It just depends on what suits you. If you prefer to eat a huge breakfast and then eat less throughout the day, the classic, eat breakfast like a king, eat lunch like a prince, and eat dinner like a pauper. If you're one of those guys, then maybe do intermittent fasting in the evening would be better for you. But if you like to eat dinner and lunch like a king, then doing it the other way would be beneficial for you. Okay, so just because someone says they find great success with intermittent fasting doing it this particular way, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best way for you. Maybe you like being told by someone who's really in good shape that this is a secret to losing weight, and if you think that's going to help you, adhere to your diet and stick to it by me just telling you to eat a specific number of meals at a specific number of time. If you think that's going to help you, then I mean, by all means. But there's a ton of different ways to skin this cat, and intermittent fasting isn't for everyone, because some people, when they're not eating for all the day, they get hungry, they get irritable, they feel low energy. For some people, they can put up with the hunger in the morning, and the way people will do this is they will drink a lot of water in the morning, okay, and they will also probably have like a coffee or tea or something like that, just to blunt their appetite, and give them a bit of an supposed energy boost. But yeah, so intermittent fasting can work. It's very popular at the moment because it allows you to eat in greater quantities and still lose fat. okay, but you're just eating less frequently. For some people that works, for some people it doesn't. But the problem with intermittent fasting is you can get into a habit, and I know I've fallen into this in the past of, oh, you know, I've haven't eaten in 16 hours, so I'm just going, and I've got 3,000 calories to play with in the next 4 hours or whatever. So I'm going to gorge on everything because I can. I can eat ice cream, I can eat pizza, as long as I put some sort of protein in it, I can eat whatever I want, and it's fine because I've been starving myself for the last half a day. It's easy to fall into that mindset because it's so easy to, you've got so many calories to play with and it is time to eat. So what I would say is, if you are practicing intermittent fasting, if you do want to do it, then keep healthy eating in mind. Don't just use it as an excuse to pig out because you can. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should. Okay, so don't use it as a free pass to just eat whatever you want as long as you're in your calorie under your calorie allowance for the day, because that's not really what it's intended to be. It's intended for appetite control, and it's intended to make fat loss be easier for people who would rather delay their gratification for the evening and reward themselves, and they find it, that makes the diet easier to stick to and adhere to, and that will give fat loss in the long term. So if that sounds like you, then give it a try. Bear in mind that it will be hard for a week or two as your body adjusts from not eating breakfast, because ideally we should be eating on a regular schedule. So if you are changing up your schedule, you're not eating breakfast and you've ate it for the last 10 years straight, then you will undoubtedly be hungry in the morning. You will it probably won't be the greatest of enjoyment, but if you really want to see it out, give it a week or two, and slowly you should start adapting and getting used to not eating it in the morning, and it'll become easier. And just use some water and a bit of coffee or tea to stunt your appetite, but make sure you're still eating enough as the day goes on, and keep eating healthy, even though you can eat whatever, you can eat so much in those 1 or 2 meals, but don't use that as a free pass just to pig out, because that's not cool. Okay, I mean, do what you want, but okay, just a quick video on intermittent fasting. So don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.